Let's get started here.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to be talking a lot about what happened to the ARRL, what some new things are going on and where we're going. I do want to give Dave Proper a couple minutes to say hello and talk about stuff that he's involved in, especially with the historical committee. So we'll give him a few minutes, and he's got to leave for another meeting. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Art K0AIZ. I'm the Midwest Division Director. I've been a director now for, I think, about 4.5 years. Our vice director is Dave Proper, K2DP. And Dave, why don't you step in and make a few remarks?
Okay. Well, let's see. I just got up to the Newington area this afternoon, so I'm tired from traveling. But other than that, yes, I sit on 4 different committees. I am chair of the ARRL Historical Committee, which is responsible for managing the historical collection that consists of both artifacts related to amateur radio as well as equipment that we have that is of significant importance to the development of the amateur radio technology. And I sit on the ECFSC committee, which is known as the Alphabet Soup. It is the Emergency Communications and Field Services Committee. I sit on the Band Planning Committee, and I'm substituting and adding myself back into the Programs and Services Committee, which I had sat on last year. And they do tend to rotate us around through the different committees to do different things, so we get a flavor for what's going on. There are basically 3 standing committees that operate amongst the myriad of about 20 plus committees that help run ARRL.
I'm going to walk them through the committees, so you don't need to.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know what you were going to present.
Yeah.
Okay, but Art will talk about that later. But at any rate, we're very busy tomorrow in committee meetings. I have 3 of them that will take me all day. And then we go into board meeting on Friday and Saturday. So it's a very busy week up here. With the ARRL Historical Collection over the past couple of years that I've been active with them, the focus has been twofold. One, to bring the ARRL Historical Collection to our membership of 100 and, let's say, 30,000 amateurs, most of whom never get to set foot in Newington, which is where the collection resides. So we're in the process of developing a virtual museum called Radio Alpha. And right now, the museum is hiding in the background in a database, but it now has over 4,000 entries because it will become a database, really a collection of most of all the amateur radio equipment and accessories that were ever produced. And it'll be a tremendous reference resource for anybody that's interested in that, because we expect to be adding schematics and manuals to that database. And that is being done really under the auspices of Chuck Penson, WA7ZZE. Chuck is the author of a series of books on the history of Heathkit. And he is a retired museum director, and he calls himself an electronics archaeologist. So he's got quite a background in that area, and he's been doing a great job for us on that. The other major effort is to prune and focus the collection that we have at headquarters, and try to focus on those things that are important either to the history of ARRL and the history of the being of amateur radio, as well as the equipment that was developed for amateur radio and those pieces of equipment that are significant to the technological development of our radios, from TRF receivers of the 1920s all the way through to SDR receivers that we use today. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the past 3.5, 4 years. I don't know, Art, did I leave anything out?
No, you know it all. And of course, Dave backs me up on the stuff that I do too. So it's pretty important. So thanks so much. I'm sorry you have
Charlie,
you're
0
talking.
Foxtrot, Sierra Hotel, Mark, Minute Park.
I'm sorry, would you mute your microphone, please, or I'll have to mute your microphone. Lances, would you mute your microphone?
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0.
Okay, I hate to do it, but I'll have to mute your microphone.
Hotel Juliet Victor, this is Herb.
3 check in.
Okay.
WR is.
Lances, can you hear me? I need to find them in this big screen is my
Kilo, Charlie, 0, Juliet, Victor, Herb. Thank you all for checking in.
Okay.
Bingo, you got it.
I've got it. All right, sorry about that. So let me get started here. I'm going to put my screen up. Dave, of course, before you leave, if you have anything you want to jump in and say, that'd be great.
Thank you. And I will just take a minute to say, I'm glad everybody's here, and I'm sorry that I can't stay, but there's a meeting that's going to start in about 15 minutes.
All right. Well, let me share my screen. There we go. Hopefully you're seeing my PowerPoint. All right. Let me make sure. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. So let me get started here. Of course, this is our town hall meeting. I'm sorry we don't have more of them. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Dave and I are both pretty busy. So I'm going to make a presentation. I'll introduce Brett Coons, W0VK, who's putting together our Midwest Division Convention to talk about what's going on. And then we'll have an open Q&A and discussion wherever you guys want to go. So first of all, many of you have heard me talk about this. I was first licensed in 1961, when I was 14 years old. There's my first license, WV6SAL. But the important thing here is that on June the 28th, I celebrated my 64th anniversary as a ham. I'm quite proud of that. Can't wait for the 65th. My wife is also a ham, by the way, N6CLZ. So why did I do that? Occasionally it's fun to sit back and think, why? Well, one, ham radio is a lot of fun. Has been for all the years I've done it. I assume that's why a lot of you are here. I love building electronics. I got in a lot of trouble in high school. Instead of studying history, I'd be drawing schematics inside my history books, and that would make them very unhappy. I liked contesting a bit, net traffic. McCann 7 when I was a kid, military civilian affiliated network, 7 megacycles. And we used to take traffic between civilians and soldiers all over the world. And it's a lot of fun. I was in net control when I was probably around 16 for quite a while. Emergency communications, and of course, RACES, ARRL, storm spotting. But I think the most important thing that we've all done and that we all do is community. And of course, we found out about that again with what went on in Texas. Let me share a video.
Weather radio can alert you the storm warning heading your way. There is another way to communicate in the event of an emergency. As KLTV7's Alex Weister shows us, ham radio operators provide important information when the normal methods of communication fail.
Literally can be life and death.
If the lights go out and cell service goes down during severe weather or any emergency, staying connected to friends, family, or first responders is important. When other devices fail, ham radio operators can keep the line of communication open.
Ham radio does not operate on that same level. So we can send out mobile operators, have them relay back to the OC.
These operators can work alongside first responders, that being where radio operators such as Mark Taylor can help fill in the gaps where it is needed when called on. Other operators in Smith County can be mobilized to aid in communication between first responders.
We just send the messages the served agencies request us to send. We're very careful that we send them accurately and send them as effectively as possible.
In some cases, licensed operators may even ride alongside first responders to send back information about what is happening in the affected area, not limited to just East Texas counties.
We would first man this radio station here in the EOC so that we could then communicate with some confidence that we would be able to survive anything that happens, so we can talk to other radio operators locally and those that we might dispatch to a mutual aid situation in another county.
Ham operators also get critical messages to loved ones, letting them know someone is okay when phones and internet don't work.
You contact virtually any ham radio operator and they can get a message to someone else somehow. We have the facilities and the practice to send those messages across the country if we need to.
Alex Weister, KLTV7 News.
Scan the QR code right there on your screen, the bottom left corner. You can go to our website, kltv.com, and click on the big red box to learn more about ham radio operators in East Texas as well.
So that's one of the things that I think makes me very proud is how we do support our communities. And, you know, I keep saying this, and if you've heard me say it before, forgive me for saying it again. American Radio Relay League, national organization for amateur radio, been around for well over 100 years. This used to be our motto. We have a new motto now. It's to promote and to protect the art, science, and enjoyment of amateur radio and to develop the next generation of radio amateurs. Definitely looking toward the future now. I'm going to go through some stuff. I love giving some background. I want people to understand what the ARRL is about. We have 15 divisions, as you know. We're right in the middle, Midwest. The board, I keep saying this, is not a radio club board. Unfortunately, for many years, it functioned just like a radio club board, and that just does not fit a multi-million-dollar nonprofit corporation. We are a nonprofit corporation, nonprofit board of directors. We're subject to the Connecticut state corporate statutes. We're subject to the the standard practice in corporations. We have legal liabilities that we get into if we don't do those things. The board's responsible for policy and strategy. That is high level. We don't do the tactics and the day-to-day. That's up to staff. We're all volunteers. I paid absolutely nothing. They do reimburse me if I want for my travel expenses. Chief executive is the only person in the organization that reports directly to us. The directors are legally bound to fiduciary duties. And one thing I want to point out is section managers do not report to us. They report to the field organization. And we do work together. We have monthly cabinet meetings, and we try to support each other. I said that. Let's see. Fiduciary responsibilities. I'm going to go through this really quick. You've heard a lot of noise on the internet and on some of the, how can I put it, more political parts of ham radio. But let me talk about what fiduciary duties are. Duty of care, that is, we cannot do harm to the organization. We make sure that the organization makes effective use of all its assets, people, facilities, and goodwill. We have a duty of loyalty, and that means we advance the mission of the organization. We make decisions in the best interest and not in our personal interest or our company's interest. We avoid conflicts of interest. We maintain confidentiality, what's required by law, such as if we've got an HR situation, a personnel situation, that frequently is covered by state statute that says we cannot talk about it. That violates state statute. We also, we market books, and if we've got a strategy on how we're going to market our books that competitors who are also marketing books we of course want to keep that private to ourselves, and that just makes good sense for the organization. There is a duty of obedience, and those people on the dark side said, well, we're requiring all directors to be obedient or else. Has nothing to do with it. Directors have to ensure that the organization is obedient and obeys applicable laws, regulations, and the governing documents like the bylaws and the articles of association. Directors must ensure that the organization adheres to a stated corporate purpose and mission. That is, the organization, the corporation, the league, the ARRL has a duty to do what it has signed up to do, according to state law and according to its own documents. Board committees, Dave mentioned this earlier. There are several board committees, standing committees. Executive committee is elected by the board. There are 5 members. We act for, this committee acts for the board in case of an emergency or when a decision needs to be made between board meetings. We also have other duties like monitoring the progress on tasks we've put in place. I've been reelected to this board. It's the second time I'm on this committee. It's the second time I'm on it. Standing committees, administration and finance. We worry about the budget. We worry about salaries. We worry about all that stuff, income. And I'm a member of that. Dave Proper, as he mentioned, is a member of Emergency Communications and Field Services. There's also the Program Services and Services Committee. Others are ethics and elections. One of the most difficult things I've ever done is head the ethics and elections committees. You probably heard something about that. It's very hard to be in a position where you have to judge the activities of other board members. Dave, as he said, is the chair of the historical committee. There are other committees. There's the other board, the ARRL Foundation Board, it does things like give away scholarships. We gave away over $700,000 in scholarships in 2024. We gave $47,000 plus in grants, small grants to clubs. We gave away over $500,000 in large grants to clubs. We have a new program which is going to help us in our division convention, and that is $150,000 was set aside to support division conventions. The board has assets about $8 million, and this is all by donation, people donating to set up scholarships and to help fund programs. I've been reelected to that board, and it's one of the best things I've ever done because we get to interview young people for scholarships. And it is so neat to talk to young people and find out they're as excited about the hobby as we were when we were young. ARRL is changing. I think a lot of that starts with David Minster, NA2AA, the new ARRL CEO. Terrific person. He's brought a new energy to the organization. He comes out of a history where he was the CEO of a billion-dollar company. He knows about business. He knows about people. He knows how to run things. He can be a little gruff at times, but I think he's really leading us in the right direction. I keep talking about people to rely on, and these are people you can call or you can write. There's their email addresses. If you have a question, you got a technical problem with your Yaesu and can't get it resolved, you can write an email to George Spada at headquarters and get an answer. If you have questions about club development or about the field organization, you can write Mike Walters, and he can help you out with that, and so on. These people are there to help you. If you're going overseas, you can write in or call them and say, hey, I'm going overseas. What do I need to do to work in? I was going to say Kansas. That's not right. But what do I need to work in if I'm moving to Ireland or going to Ireland to operate for a few weeks? Of course, we have our own division, Cecil, AC0HA is the Missouri section manager, Barry, W0IY, Iowa. Kansas is Ron Cowan, and Nebraska is Matt Anderson. And of course, you know me and Dave Proper. We're available if there's anything we can do for you. I want to talk about some highlights from last year. You know, we keep thinking about ARRL as just a public exchange organization. No, it's much more than that. We did publish 4 magazines on time last year, despite the cyber attack. We were approved as an official New York Department of Education vendor, meaning we can supply curricular content for schools to help people get into amateur radio and use amateur radio in learning STEM subjects. We have the youth licensing program, which is highly successful. 600 youths under 18 had their FCC fees reimbursed by the ARRL. National Convention at Hamvention was successful. You can watch the recordings online. Major donor gifts are increasing in number and size. We did Grouper, which is a benefit for 65 plus with Medicare Advantage. They can actually get paid for being a member of the organization. Licenses are up 22%. Logbook of the World was protected during the cyber attack. It's back working. Positions at headquarters are filled. Last July, we created the Associate Student Membership. So full-time students 21 and younger can join the ARRL for free. And as of last month, we had 473 student members. Life membership is back, and that had to be put back on a revenue neutral basis. It's back. There are the costs. We accepted the strategic plan report in last July. 3-year strategy authorizes work to flesh out the total strategy. The elements are develop the next generation of radio amateurs, inspire and educate youth, align with the interests of today's youth. For example, they use screens. We didn't do that when I was 14. So work with screens, get them work with them on the kind of technologies that engage them. Digital transformation is, of course, part of that. Serve members and drive growth through technology. Invest in upgrades, improve the ARRL IT platform. The digital delivery of our magazines, of course, is part of that. And develop new sources of revenue and seek support from donors and grants in both public and private sectors. And all those things are moving out and moving out successfully. ITAC, a new committee was formed, the Information Technology Advisory Committee. I'm on that. And the idea is to look over the shoulder of the people who are develop the information technology and also bring in experts when they're needed to join our group to advise the ARRL. That's to help us avoid the kind of nastiness that occurred during the cyber attack. By the way, Logbook of the World is under the ITAC. We've got a group in advocacy, and that's to help hams who have limitations in station building, either physically because of their personal conditions or because they can't put an antenna up on where they live. So you'll be hearing more and more about that. Trademark protection. There was an action taken to make sure that ARRL is protecting its trademarks appropriately, and the CEO will report on that, or did report on that. Governance. We've got 100 and some odd year old organization, and it was put together in the days when they worried about getting a piece of traffic from the East Coast to the West Coast and back again and in between. Is that really the right organization for structure that we need today? I mean, most organizations, if you have a board, the board would have somebody, for example, if it's a radio organization, would have an expert in radio propagation, would have an expert in computing, would have an expert in communications. And we don't do that. We have a board that's set up primarily as, well, political. It's how well people like you to vote for you. So maybe we ought to be thinking something else. Do we need 72 sections? Does that work for us? Is there a better organization? So they're going to look at this. They're going to bring in outside help to look at it, and they propose some changes. But those changes won't take place until that whole issue is given over to the membership and they can vote on whether to make such changes. Director Workbook has been a really interesting group. This is something else I volunteered to do, so I hid this group. The workbook is a mess. Things coming from all over, things where we don't know where they came from, and there's things that are policy that have been brought in without a vote of the board. So we want to make sure that that's cleaned up, hangs together, is self-consistent and all that. It's a lot of work. We're doing that. We did decide that roll call votes would be used on any changes to governing documents. For example, a change to the bylaws. Right in January, the big issue was bylaw 4246 and changes to the Articles of Association. And that's to improve the ethics and elections committee processes, better protect board members who are accused of violating a fiduciary responsibility through the use of a neutral, independent third party, somebody not associated with a board, to look at all the information and decide whether something bad has happened. And that independent, neutral third party is either a law firm or a retired judge, for example, who has a good foundation in law and the ability to look at evidence and compare that to what's required. Better documentation for election procedures and rules. We decided to postpone the vote until this meeting, till July, to give directors more time to comment. We also gave more time for our corporate attorneys to review what we're doing and let us know what they think of it. You'll be hearing more about that. If you want to read all these things, they're all out in the open. The Bylaw 46 committee has put all of its proposals online. If you go to the ARRL website, the easiest way to find this, go to the ARRL website, and in the keyword search, type in Bylaw 46, and you'll be taken to that page. You can read all about it. Nothing is hidden here. We established a technical standards committee. You may have all heard of the Clean Signals Initiative. It defines how to make transmitters that don't interfere with other stations and get the maximum use or efficiency in getting your signal out there. ICOM, other companies, Yaesu, have signed up for this, so it's been a great success. Major proposals. Bylaw 18 was put in place with a 2/3 vote. It clarifies the director election process. It moves things from rules and regulations and standing orders into the bylaws. And that's because rules and regulations, that document never took a vote of the board. Standing orders took a simple majority vote. And what we've done is take all the important things and put them into the bylaws. So now they take a full 2/3 or 3/5 vote in order to make a change. So much more protection. We put in rules like no personal attacks on other candidates and focus the elections on the divisions. So that I'm glad that's in place. It will help clean up and make our election process much easier. We did approve $200,000 for Washington advocacy. This is for lobbyists to help us with our dealings with Congress. Challenges. I keep saying without ARRL, amateur radio would not exist today. There's a lot of examples of that. After World War II or after World War I, amateur radio was dead. ARRL brought it back. After World War II, there were incredible restrictions. That's all fixed thanks to ARRL. The Shortwave Modernization Coalition is going after HF frequencies near our bands and eventually maybe our bands. And so we've got to protect even HF. You know about protecting a microwave from VHF and microwave from broadband. We advocate at the federal, state, and local levels, antenna regulation and zoning. The volunteer monitoring program is run by Riley Hollingsworth, and it's K4ZDH, who was a FCC manager who used to take care of the amateur radio. We now have 250 monitoring stations. They are vetted by the FCC, and when they find a problem and say something, the FCC is taken very seriously. A brave new world. The new head of the FCC is strongly pro-commercial, wants to sell out frequencies, and the head of the FDA talks about the dangers of RF radiation. He thinks being near a transmitter is very bad. Cyberware attack. You've all heard about that. Awesome systems disruption. Everything was attacked. Any system, any computer on the network was attacked. It was really bad. The ransomware attack it's been resolved to the most part. Logbook of the World is back on. The VEC program's working. The radio sport award processing is back up. Worked all states and VUCC are issuing credits to CQ for WAZ, but you know what's happened to CQ magazine. The XCC applications and awards are now being processed. We do have a major problem with things that are related to CQ magazine because that organization, of course, has fallen apart. So where are we? Well, unfortunately, we're down in members. In the Midwest Division, we're down almost 7%, and that's not good. There's some reasons for that. And one of the reasons is that we're in an age group. You know, hams are an older group, which is one of the reasons we really emphasize young people. And we're at the age group where between 2 and 5% of us drop away simply because that's the mortality. On top of that, the change in dues, of course, caused some people to get upset. Separating paper magazine subscriptions from dues did that also. But also because of the cyber attack, we couldn't send out renewal notices. We couldn't invite new hams to join. So that's all part of the picture here. The good news, we have a really innovative, caring, dedicated CEO. We've got a strong board strengthening at the ARRL, and when I say that, I mean that the super majority of the board is, and I'm sorry to say this, more interested in the ARRL than they are their egos, and it's looking good. They're not afraid to take a hard look at the organization, at finance, at membership, and you saw that with the dues increase and the change in the publications of the separating of paper subscriptions from membership. That was because the organization took a look and said, hey, now wait a minute, we're about to go broke. We've got to change this. So I think overall things are really looking up. We've developed a realistic plan to get ARRL on sound fiscal footing. It's got a way to go, but it's on its way. New programs to track members, developing new products and services, some neat new books coming out now. We're looking at out of the box, like, you remember in the CB days, we always thought, CB, oh, you guys go away. We don't want to have anything to do with you. But what we should have said is, hey, you're enjoying radio? Come over here and see what I can do. Same with GMRS now. There are people who are very enthusiastic, lots of repeaters, and lots of interest in GMRS. Let's invite them on board. And maybe we ought to have a section of QST that's devoted to GMRS. Going digital, adding video, audio, software to magazines. And I want to mention something new that started within the last couple of years, and this is called Marconi, Motivating Amateur Clubs to Open New Initiatives. It was created by a really neat guy, Dr. Ed Snyder in Connecticut, W1YSM. And the goal is high performance clubs. And those are clubs that are engaged with members and community. You'll be hearing more about it. The idea here is that really high performance clubs that really have their act together will document what they've done that works and mentor other clubs, for example, and individuals in how to do things better. It was funded through ARRL and ARDC grants. If you want to find out more about it, www.arrl.org/Marconi-program. And you can read more about it. There's also materials that you can access right there on activities for your clubs. It's currently New England focused. It will be expanded. So something very exciting. And if everything goes well, Ed Snyder will be at our convention to talk about some of this. All right, attracting new members. You've all heard about the ARRL sweepstakes, Dream Station, $17,000 worth of equipment in a really neat ICOM station, including a 60th anniversary ICOM watch. 3 ways to enter: join or renew, set up auto renew, or donate to the Diamond Club. You can do 6 of those things and get 6 entries, and at the end of the year, they will award this station. So, how can you help us? Well, mentor new hams and introduce them to ARRL. Run for a position like section manager or division director. That would be appreciated. Volunteer for field organization. 30,000 people can't be wrong. There are 30,000 volunteers in the ARRL. Donate to the Diamond Club. That's something I do, and I know others do. Even life members. You got a good deal. Well, how about helping keep us going? So donating to the Diamond Club, you can donate to a specific fund like Spectrum Protection, or you can give to a unrestricted, which means use the money as you see fit. So I really suggest looking at that. Speak up. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. And thanks for listening. We're here to support you. And here's contact information for Dave and me. And that completes my talk. So let me stop the sharing here. Aha, that worked. So before I do anything else, just a second here. Let me shut this down. Hold on. All right. I'm back with you. So, anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions? This is a good time on my presentation. We'll have a general Q&A session in a few minutes. And Lloyd has raised his hand. That's a good idea to raise your hand so I can tell, because I've got a screen full of people. So Lloyd, go ahead.
Okay, I raised my hand as you were saying that we were going to have a Q&A session later. So that's what I thought we were going to ask questions. So if you're not ready for my question, I'll lower my hand.
Okay, well, we can get your question later. Let's see, Jeff, you have a question.
Yeah, just a couple of comments and then a question. So we're specifically in the Kansas City area. We're a little bit different as we have the MoCan Council, which has done a lot to better clubs. I mean, we've created training classes on how to run a club and set up a club, how to have them to earn money, how to get members. Those are all classes that Randy and several of us put together and gave. That's something you should think maybe about dispersing across, not just here, but other locations, using it kind of as a model.
Yep,
I think
that's exactly right. As a matter of fact, we're looking at new publications to do that. Marconi is set up just to do exactly what you're saying. And so, yeah, you're right on it. I, as Randy knows, I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's something we should utilize, overutilize.
Absolutely. And I love when Randy sends me an article, and love sharing what's going on in Kansas with my other directors. What you're doing is just outstanding.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody? Oh, we got another hand up. Ron.
Hi, Art and everyone. Glad to see everybody here. I was chatting with Dave a few months earlier about the Wolfhong Society, and Dave filled me in on the board's concerns. And so, of course, he said he was welcoming ideas, something I've been tossing around. I haven't given it a great deal of thought, but for folks that don't know, the Wolfhong Society has to be done usually at the ARRL National or the Division Convention. It's not being done, but because of certain problems associated with it. But it needs to be modernized. And what I hate is the fact of like deliberate QRM, especially with the expeditions, and along with the idea of having a clean signal. That's what originally started the whole Wolfhong. And it was a tongue in cheek, but it had a serious bent in that you dedicate yourself to having a good station. I'd like to see it come back again. I'm tossing the idea around of modernizing it and somehow, and still have the play format, but do it in a way that would be awfully hard to misconstrue or be, used for any ulterior, motive. And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's any interest in that, and if anybody else would be
So,
wanting to
somebody
throw
got
an idea around.
somebody's got to pick that up. So Ron, if you want to put together a little group and uh, suggest something or put something together that would be fitting, and it can't be something where we've actually had people driven away from ham radio because of that ceremony, and with
Yeah,
a lot of evidence. It's just that was something great during the in 1910s, 1920s when people were a little less sensitive to others, and yeah, I mean, having something fun like that. I mean, I enjoyed the Wolfong and didn't really recognize the bad side of it till it was pointed out to me. So,
right.
sure. I mean, if you want to have something fun like that doesn't hurt people and is fun, everybody can laugh at and enjoy and proudly carry the symbol, I think that'd be great. So,
Okay, yeah.
go
I like
for
the
it.
idea of it,
Go
so
for it.
okay, thanks. If anybody else wants to, join me, email me or get a hold of me, and I'm KO0Z, and see if we can, more minds the better.
All right. Anybody else? I don't see any more hands up. So at this point, then, let me get my screen ready here and let me invite Brett. Let's see, Brett, you're still, yeah, I see you. You're there. WCVK. There you are. And
Yes, sir.
I turn the floor over to you. I will have my screen ready whenever you're ready to share it.
All right. Well, Art, you have given a excellent presentation and a hard act to follow, my friend. But I'll tell you what, we are so grateful and so excited down here in Sedalia, Missouri, to be hosting the 2025 Midwest Division Convention, and it's just an exciting time for us to be building this. And this is all going to happen on October 10th and 11th. There'll be load in the day before on Thursday and load out on Sunday if needed. And like I said, it's all gonna go down there. We'll take a little trip down what this is going to look like at this time. So we've got two large buildings there on the Missouri State Fairground that we have secured. One of them is 20,000 square feet, and the other one is 10,000 square feet. The 20,000 square feet building, and they do adjoin, and there's two classrooms within the complex there. The 20,000 square foot building is the Mathewson Exhibition Center, and that's where primarily the ham tables or the vendor, the flea area will be, the commercial tables. We'll look at that when we bring up the website. You'll be able to see a glimpse of that. The other building is Moeller Hall, and that will have the comm trailers from members or clubs throughout the division. I've got about 6 lined up now, but I'm looking for more and would love to have your representation in this building. So if you've got a good looking trailer, please let us know. And let me know, W0VK at ARRL.net. And we want to represent you there. We're also going to have a ham working station in there on display for people to look at and just learn from that. And we'll have educators in there as well. We will also have the 2024 state high school champion U.S. robotic team there. This is the hometown here in Sedalia, and we're going to get them in there for some youth outreach. And I'm working with Dudley Allen currently on some really cool youth outreach. That building there is going to be kind of an educational thing, to have the trailers in there. We'll have the classrooms in there for the forums and presentations. We'll have a live working drive-in frequency radio. It's all going to be in there and be operating, and we're gonna have that going. I've got a crane secured outside. He can go 200 feet with it, but we're gonna raise an antenna outside, and we'll have that so we can operate high frequency there once we figure out kind of the optimal height and how that antenna was going to work. So that's kind of what's going on there. We'll have food service. We'll have a vendor inside. Then Friday night, the Ham Fest is going to operate from noon through 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., then we're going to migrate over to the pork place, where we're going to have a banquet dinner. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have presentations. That's going to be kind of a highlight of being able to recognize folks within the division. We've asked the section managers to do some recognitions, and just to have that as a really nice dinner. And this particular place is known for their excellent food. So it's owned and operated through the pork producers of Missouri. Really good thing there. We've got hotels secured in Sedalia. We've got 4 hotels that have came together and saved blocks of rooms. So lodging will be not a problem there. We've also got camping. Anybody want to spend the night, they can come and camp. And
Brett?
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, we can bring up your website. That shows a lot of the stuff you're talking about. Might help.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, let me do that. Sorry to cut you short, but
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
You know, it's good to have the visual too while we're at it.
You tell me where to point, and I'll point there.
All right. So this is our website, and we've had an excellent team working on this, and they have done an awesome job. We've got Randy and Darren and Harry. Randy, with the president of the MoCan Council, been such an asset and an advisor. And Darren, KD0 OPS, and Harry, K0 TV, couple of our techie members in the group, and they've helped put this website together to share our vision with you guys. So our homepage here, we've got this handsome feller here, and our leader, and has a little synopsis there. Let's hop over on the About page there, Art. So on the About page, this kind of tells you just the general stuff that we all want to know. So it tells you the start time. It tells you where the convention's held. It has the talk-in and contact information. There's a QR code there that will take you to me, my contact information, so you can call me at any time. And then we have our Facebook that we're having live updates and things like that. That's the other QR code. We've got our general admission prices, which are going to be $10, raffle prices or tickets and things like that go on. And then scroll on down there a little bit, Art. You'll see here a map of the Missouri State Fairgrounds. And as you look at that, north is up. And the at home on your computer, this will be bigger where you'll be able to read that, and it'll look really good. But you can see the adjoining buildings there, and that big green spot, that's inner campground there. So if you're camping, bringing a camper or what have you, you're just right there in the location. Then you see the 2 parking lots down below, and then just to the right of those 2 parking lots, that's where the pork place is. That's where the dinner will be there on Friday night. So, Art, let's go to the next page. Let's go to the table, or to Sedalia. You know, folks that come to Sedalia, you're trying to figure out how to get there. Well, you know, I kind of like to say all roads around here lead to Sedalia, because you've got I-70 just north of us here. You got 65 highway that runs north and south that goes from Springfield up to Des Moines, and obviously I-70 that runs, you know, all the way across the United States. We're in, you know, direct correlation with that. Also, as you scroll down, there's some things here about Sedalia that you know, some folks want to see. You know, and there's like, you know, a lot of times we go to these ham fests or these conventions, and you know, we bring a spouse, and there's things there that you know, maybe they don't want to come to the convention, but they want to go out and see the town and sites. We have got some really good links here that will help people find other things to do while you're enjoying the ham fest in the convention. Hop over to lodging there next. Or no, Sedalia. Is that it would be, oh no, it is lodging. Okay, now lodging. Sorry. Here's our hotels. Hotel Bothwell is located down in our historic town downtown. It is a really neat vintage hotel. It's very nice and up to date, but it's excellent restaurants down in that area, and kind of a speakeasy type place there, so a place to hang out afterwards. Then we have Best Western and Holiday Inn, which are standard, what you would expect that we all stay in. They're all those hotels are affordable and have room rates. You just have to give them a call, and it's I highly approve of all three of those. The Missouri State Fairground camping, there is their information there, the phone number for the full hookups and everything that you would need. If you're a camping person, you'll know the questions to ask when you dial that number there. But they have everything you need. Lots of camping events are here, and so the facility is very easy to get in and out of. Everything is straightforward as far as hooking things up. All right, let's slide over here to tables. This is the Mathewson Exhibition Center. We've got 200 tables in there, and on that particular layout. And we've got commercial booths on the north side and the south side of that. And the way it's looking, we're going to end up having more commercial booths in there. The power runs along the north and the south side for now. We can get power into the middle there in the core of the Hamfest tables, but we're doing that as needed. On the left-hand side, we have a stage. That's where your prizes and your raffles and everything will be drawn at that point. And then down on the right side, there is some cubbies back there. So there's seats in that white area. That's all seating around there. So you can look down on this arena floor, and it's 100 by.
Sorry, I'm late.
Welcome. Glad you're here. So we've got the arena floor there, and it's 200 by 100, 200 long by, I forget the width dimensions there on the floor, but you can seat around it and look down on it, and it's kind of cool too. And that's where the food vendors are upstairs there. That'll be looking down on the arena floor there. Also, right there, if you see the stage there on the left side there, about the 10 o'clock position, that darker black line, that is a tunnel that takes you over to Moeller Hall, and also elevators. So everything is fully handicap accessible, and it's dual level, but we have elevators to make things smooth and accessible. But that takes you over to Moeller Hall for that. I'm working with the guy. He is getting the print for that. So check back in a couple of days, and that will be at this same location on this web page, and you'll be able to see the classrooms in the other hall. Was there a question? Okay. So then we'll hop down to purchase. And so I've got a lot of input. I've got a lot of really good folks here that are going to be giving presentations. You know, the Missouri Repeater Councils, they've already stepped up and taken some time. But a cool one, and you mentioned his name, Riley Hollingsworth. He's planning on being here for the event. And so if you guys want a chance at meeting Riley, we're planning on him being here and having some of his expertise on the FCC and the monitoring program, and we just feel grateful that he stepped up and wanted to be there. But lots of presentations on GMRS, SDR Play. We're going to have Dudley come in on youth and outreach. Randy's going to talk hams and space and MOCAN stuff. And then I've got the 4-state QRP folks. The KC Wide is going to be here. Barry from Iowa is going to do some KICAD stuff. And honestly, I've got a bunch. I really do have a bunch here. And I'm working with getting those lined out. And then I'm going to be reaching out to those presenters to get their preferred times that we can kind of make work for them. So we're going to have the high altitude balloon launch, and that we're pretty excited about that. We're going to have the transmitters, why am I drawing blank? APRS transmitters on it, and so we will have those, and then let's see what else we got. We're going to host ARRL testing. We were going to have the flea forums. Oh, we're going to have a fox hunt. We're going to have a live fox hunt because the Missouri State Fairgrounds has 400 acres that we're going to kind of have the run. So we're going to have 400 acres there to play around with the fox hunt. So we're pretty excited about that. I'm also working with the Missouri Science and Technology out of the University of Missouri on getting them there to host some of the things that they've got, because they have the engineering school down in Rolla. I'm working on getting them there so they can have some educational things. So anyway, I mean, that's just kind of a rundown of what we have going on, and we're going to continue to have more things posted and sharing via email through. We're going to send Art kind of a synopsis of some more things and an overview so he can, get it out to the group here. And we're just excited. We really are. So what questions do you guys have for us or me?
And do me a favor, raise your hand if you want to ask a question. At the moment, I've got muting. You won't be able to unmute unless I ask you to unmute. So please raise your hand. I don't see any questions. Yeah, in order to shut out the troller, I locked the muting. So, okay, we have a question from Jeff. Jeff, you should be able to unmute now.
Do we know if any of the major players are going to be there? Yaesu, Kenwood, ICOM, whatever?
I'd like to say yes. They're all donating things, but their presence, I haven't heard back from any of them as far as their presence. And that's where I'm asking for first, is presence. But as far as them having a display there, they are not going to have, there's not going to be a Yaesu display or a Kenwood radio display there.
Okay, let's see. Ron has a question.
Not so much a question, but I'd like to thank Brett and his team for the fine work. I'm excited about this, and thank you. I contacted you earlier about if it was pet friendly, and so yes, and I appreciate that. And so we'll bring our dog along, and so she's very friendly. But thank you and kudos to you and your team. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're very welcome, and we are going to be glad to have you. And yeah, bring your dog with you. It's a very pet friendly place, and yeah, I remember you, and glad you reached out.
All right, I'm sorry we had a problem in there. I accidentally kicked somebody off who was not the bad guy, and if he'll log back in, that would be great. Sorry about that. I was trying to control the thing. It's horrible that we have people out there like that these days. Anyway, Brett, it looks really good. It looks really exciting. Let's see. Jeff has a question. Go ahead and unmute, Jeff.
Just a comment. I'm on several Zoom calls to manufacturers and other people, and particularly ham related. If you put the call sign, ask people to put their call sign in the window because it's really easy to do. It filters a lot of that out.
Yeah, I hate having to kick people off. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
when you open it up to the world, it is the world. So
yeah. You're right. You're right. Let's see. I think Chad has done Brett has done an absolutely outstanding job pulling this thing together. As you probably recognize, the website, as Randy said, the website will be updated. There'll be changes as we get this thing together. We're also going to be applying for a good amount of money from the ARRL Foundation to help pay for this under the program that will help support division conventions. What we're hoping that'll happen, now they won't support forever. And so we basically have to have a plan where they help us now and we'll eventually be close to break even. And what Brett has done is put together something that I think is going to attract people to where we're going to be able to raise money from clubs that want to support us, and we'll also get more vendor support and all that. And it looks terrific, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope I'll get to see all of you there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've released the muting, so if anybody wants to unmute, go ahead and raise a question. Did you want to say anything else, Brett?
Other than just, I'm grateful to be able to talk about this here. And there's one thing that I would like a little input on. I'm trying to think about a way for clubs to showcase themselves. So I've thought about maybe I just want participation. I want everybody to feel like this is a division, event. This is our event, right? Not just a one or two club kind of. We're the hometown host or whatever, but I want everybody to be able to come in and showcase or feel like they have some input or feel like they're involved. And so I was trying to think of just some ways to do that. Does anybody have any ideas?
One of the things I was talking to Brett about was with the this club table idea is I was going to spam out an email to about everyone that I could, but encouraging clubs to come and take advantage of those tables and, put their best foot forward. And as far as sales go, we don't want them selling hardware, but they can certainly sell subscriptions and dues and that type of thing. But yeah, I think that would be that's one thing that Brett and I've been working on, and we'd definitely love to see a lot of clubs come in and take advantage of that. And if they have questions or tips like what can we do to make our table stand out, just ask us. It's amazing what you can do with a tablecloth and a few cardboard signs.
And also, Randy, if you want to write something up about that, I'll be happy to send it out to my division email list.
That would probably be better. I'm kind of limited as to how many I can send out in a blast. So yeah, I'll craft that up and I'll send that to you, Art. Thank you.
Yeah, Brett, Randy, I'm just spitballing here, but Central States, when they put on their annual conference, they have a big whiteboard. And when people come in, members come in, they jot their name and call sign. Perhaps something, I don't know if you have like a big electronic board or something like that where, maybe attendees come in, but also clubs. You could have something where the clubs can sign in and say, here's where we're at, perhaps something like that. And
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's noted.
Are you going to have so some of the stuff that MoCan put on for local Hempfest here? We have an Elmer's table that Randy and a couple of people seem to be the ones that man it all the time. Also, a bench, basically a place for somebody to go check a radio out. I mean, literally, all you would need a watt meter and a voltmeter and a power supply, and you'd probably be able to check out probably 75% of what people are looking for. A lot of the bigger Hamfests have that, where they have a place you can take a radio to and get checked to make sure it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I like.
Go ahead, Brett.
No, I like that idea. I like that idea. I'm trying to think that would need to be done around the Hamfest tables where the vendors are, probably down in that area for sure. That's noted, Jeff.
And we're going to have the vendors table this weekend at Warrensburg, but while building the website, we had to test those PayPal links. So I bought one of those big commercial tables with electricity, and that's going to be our Elmer's table for in all things MoCan at SparkCon. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll see you there, Randy. We're Ensor Fest is setting up a couple of tables there to sell some stuff.
Outstanding. Look me up.
Yeah, again, Randy, write something up for me. I'll send it out to the whole division on inviting clubs to take part. I think it'd be great. Anybody else have any ideas or anything they want to ask about? You can go ahead and unmute now if you have any questions. Gene said to everyone, collecting club information would be nice. Club name, club location, club president, that sort of thing. You're talking about collecting that for the for publication during the convention, or what's your thought?
I would think it'd be nice to have a way to get just a listing of clubs. A lot of times when I'm traveling, doing camping, things like that, I pull into a county. I have no idea if there's a local club in that county, who the connection would be, who the local repeaters would be.
There's an easy way to do that, and that is
the internet.
Yeah, the ARRL website has the affiliated clubs, but you're talking about having it available because you're right. You may be at places where you don't have the internet. That's a good suggestion. Let me make myself a note, and I'll send off a note to Mike Walters at the headquarters and suggest that something like that be put together.
And some of the local clubs don't have personalized web pages or Facebook sites that you can then find their information on the internet. So it's kind of word of mouth. So,
but almost all the clubs have a club QSL card. So having a board or someplace that they could post their card at the event is another cheap and dirty way of getting all the information.
That's true. Yeah, but I think about doing a publication for clubs. I think that'd be a pretty big book. I think so. One thought I have is that before you travel, check into the ARRL website and download the list of clubs, for where you're going. But let me think about that. Now I'll talk to Mike Walters about that. QSL cards is a great idea, though.
Yeah, I like that.
Ball cards. Remember eyeball cards? Little business cards that look like your QSL card. All right. Anybody else have any topics they want to bring up or questions they have? Anything I can answer on the ARRL or anything that's happening there that concerns you or suggestions you have? I'd love to hear them.
I just have a comment, Art. So I watch a lot of YouTube, and I have a small channel. I have friends that have channels, and I watched. Maybe you don't want to comment on this, but I watched a guy who's your peer in California do a talk at the Quartz Fest, and pretty controversial about some of the stuff he said. It just kind of. Granted, I understand he's representing his people and he needs to give his point of view. But nobody, I guess it's for me, is nobody stood up and challenged what he was saying. I mean, he said some stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense and nobody challenged it. And it should have been challenged right there and then to say, well, show me. I mean, you don't have to do it meanly, but give me facts. Don't just give me a discussion point.
Yeah, I hear you. And the problem is that we're reticent to get into board-to-board arguments in public. That is part of that protecting the organization. If I tear down somebody else on the board, that hurts the organization. Now, we have a couple of directors who seem to want to build. When I made the comment, and it wasn't facetious, that I'm really happy now there are more board members worried about the organization than about their egos. We have a guy, at least one guy, who's very worried about his ego, and he's saying things that are absolutely not true. We have pointed that out to him many times. He's been through meetings where he's been told that he says things like that we're running out of money, and that's true, we were, but we've got $40 million in our foundations. We do. So we could just take that, eat our seed corn for a few years, die out, but that's all right. We won't have to pay for increased dues because we use that money. What he fails to realize has been told to him so many times, most of that money is restricted funds. That means that if you give money for spectrum defense, it is against the law for us to use that to fund the secretaries on the first floor. You must use it for spectrum defense. So we don't have that kind of money. And we keep explaining that to him. He keeps saying that he needs, that we're not transparent. We're transparent with the directors. We have a administration and finance committee that looks at everything. And that's open and available to other board members. So I don't know, I've talked to the guy, and matter of fact, I've tried to get him, I've supported him proposing some of the things he has, because occasionally he has good ideas. And I think it's very important for people to push back when they don't believe in something. So I've actually told him that several times. But going out, here we have a guy that cannot get his ideas passed in front of the board. So he thinks he can go out and get members to embarrass the other board directors to pass his ideas. And it's not good for the organization. And matter of fact, we've had people, and I've heard it, where people have said they don't want to belong to an organization where the board can't work together. And, and this current thing with the bylaw, and I wrote the bylaw 46 change and bylaw 42 and the changes to the Articles of Association, so we could put what is in effect a code of conduct in place. It's basically a document that tells board of directors what their legal responsibilities are, and they have to sign that they've read it, they understand it, and they'll abide by it. And some people are against that because they're afraid we might try to kick them off the board if they're doing the kind of things they're doing. So I don't have a good answer for you. There's not nice people all over, and this is one, and it really has hurt the league. We've lost members because of it.
Yeah, just a point, a reference of a term that's used a lot in the YouTube area, and I hate to go back to it, but there's a lot of people that's how they get into ham radio. There's a lot of sad hams out there.
Yep. And
sad hams, like I say, sad hams are killing ham radio. I mean, it's just, it's.
Well, they keep talking about all the nasty stuff we're doing, but if you go on to the league website, you'll see all the documents on bylaw 40s, all the change, they're right there. Yep. We've been working on it for almost 2 years. We have lawyers involved, and we're trying to be as fair as we can to everybody. So, it angers me. I don't feel comfortable talking against other directors. But
I understand that. I guess maybe I'm venting, and it really should be up to the people that were in the audience that should have stood up to it. So,
well, a couple of times they have, and the problem is then you get in an argument in the public, and and the other thing is by starting an argument like that, you make what they're saying look a little more legitimate.
Well, and you're providing attention to them, which is what they're doing.
Yeah,
what they're looking for.
Yeah. So all I can tell you is if you watch one of those and you have any questions at all about it, give me a call, send me an email. I will give you all the information I can and be as honest as I can. And if I don't have the information, I'll get it for you.
All right. I'll get off my soapbox and go away.
All right. Appreciate you bringing that up. It's a sore point that does hurt a lot. I understand. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or are we done for tonight? Thank you for the nice comments, Eric, on the chat. And somebody asked me if I would send out my presentation. Please send me an email, k0aiz@arrl.org. I'll send back my presentation to you. I won't send it out in general, so be happy to do that. Let's see, is there any other questions anybody had that I missed in the chat? Take a quick look. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I just want to tell you, I think you're doing a fine job. Thanks a lot.
That's awfully nice. It makes it worthwhile. Thank you so much.
All righty. Hope you have a good night.
Okay, thanks. Well, you guys have a good evening, and coming up on the weekend, and it's not quite weekend yet. I'm traveling to Europe on Saturday, so. Oh, before I go, there's two people I do want to introduce. Barry, W0IY. You want to come in? He's our new Iowa section manager. Barry, you have anything you want to add? You got on mute, though. Barry, you're muted. There you go.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I recognize a couple people on here, Dave from Dubuque and Steve from CR. Nice turnout tonight. Love the presentation, and have a good trip to Europe.
Thank you very much. The other guy is Ron, KB0DTI, who's our Kansas section manager. Ron, would you like to unmute and say hello?
Hello. I want to recognize our technical coordinator, WA0CBW. I saw he was here tonight. Also, the Santa Fe Trail has several members representing them. They are a special service club for Kansas. A couple of reminders. Our state convention will be the first Saturday in October in Wichita. Before we get to that, we have the Hutchinson Ham Fest put on by Reno County, August 9th. And they are giving away an FT 891. That's a reason to go to Hutchinson in the middle of August. Thank you, Art. KB0DTI.
Good to see you. And Brett, thank you so much for your presentation. Appreciate that. Notice Jeff sent me a chat. Thank you, Jeff. And it was good seeing you last week at the Pioneer Amateur Radio Club Hamfest. That was a lot of fun. I didn't buy too much, so it was even more fun. But anyways, with that, let me thank everybody for taking part. This session is recorded. If that all went well, I will send out a note as to where you can see it. It'll be posted on my YouTube channel. And again, thank you so much. We're making progress, and I appreciate you all being here. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.